appreciate your comments. We've asked all speakers to focus on the 2 or 3 qualities they think we should be looking for in a new chief, and to, if possible, limit their remarks to 3 minutes. We have I will call off the name of the people who have signed up to speak. We have a podium and microphone down here in front, but if you would prefer, we'll bring a microphone to you. Those steps are quite steep. So our first speaker is Stephanie Michael. Oh, whoops, come on down, Stephanie.
Oh, okay, the price is right.
We need to do roll call and officially start our meeting so no one throws us a objection.
Commissioner Gardner,
Here.
Commissioner Hassler,
Here.
Commissioner Price,
Here.
Commissioner Punch,
Here.
Commissioner Schwerin. Here.
Okay, sorry for the interruption.
No problem. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for this forum. And I truly appreciate the ability to express to you some of the pros and cons that I've seen. I've been happy to say that I've lived in unincorporated St. Louis County since 2002. And I really want to thank the men and women of the police department because they have been fabulous. So I owe that to Chief Bellman and those prior chiefs before him. And I hope that the next candidate can continue to, recruit, attract, and retain the quality police officers we have. A couple of weeks ago, I had the fortune, I guess, to be included in a focus group about a merger of the police department between unincorporated St. Louis County and the city. And while this isn't exactly an attribute of a candidate, it's a request that those who are interviewing these candidates leave the political to the political and the police to the police. And I certainly hope that the political side will not try to sway a candidate to go one way or another in terms of merger, and rather let a new police chief determine what is best for our St. Louis County. The second thing that I'd like to talk about, and I will use the term victimless crime. This is not a term that has ever been said to me, so if I have its definition incorrect, please don't charge anybody with that, except for myself. I would like all of the statutes to apply evenly across the board to all the citizens within the county. And most importantly, it's our license plates renewal process and expiration dates. I don't consider those things that lapse to be victimless to those of us who struggle to make ends meet, who make it a priority to pay our personal property tax on time to insure our vehicles. And so when I see a slew of vehicles routinely having outdated temporary tags and outdated permanent plates, I think we need to police that. And I think that will go a long way in sharing the burden to all of the citizens that this is something that we hold important to us. And it shouldn't just be those that are willing to, cut out dinner and a movie in order to pay the insurance and personal property tax. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. James Moore. Mr. Moore, thank you for your written comments. I believe
willingness to serve in this very important responsibility. I'm a volunteer with a group called the West County Community Action Network, and I'm a leader of the police reform team for that group. We've been interacting with police departments in West County for the last 5 years on a variety of affairs, promoting the use of body cameras, training under Dr. Lloyd Peter for implicit bias and other progressive reform efforts. And I'm not here tonight to speak for them because I didn't have a chance to get this statement briefed by the leadership team. But I can generally reflect the sentiments of those who've been active in this group for these many years. And we were advocates for, and very vocal advocates for, the county resolution around Prop P, where the county commissioners recommended that there be public hearings about the use of the Prop P funds, and that greater transparency of how those funds are spent. Unfortunately, neither county council members nor the county police followed their own advice in terms of having public hearings before the first round of Prop P funding. But nonetheless, we think that precedent is important, and we are strong advocates for greater citizen involvement and oversight of police departments across the whole region, including the county police department. So in that light, we would like to recommend that I would like to recommend you think about these issues when selecting a new chief of police. One, a chief with demonstrated experience in true community-oriented policing, not just coffee with the chief, but the kind of community-oriented policing recommended by the Department of Justice. And I gave you copies of this little very simple booklet which explains the use of community stakeholders participating with police to problem solve and to prevent crime, as well as address suppression of crime. Secondly, a chief will recognize that community support of the police requires trust building, and it's not just something that you engage in when you have a crisis, but it needs to be continuous and ongoing so that communities truly do interact with and trust and support their police department. We recommend, or I recommend, that you ascertain candidates and ascertain their understanding of the concept of racial equity and that have experience in anti-bias and anti-racist conducts and are able to lead a cultural change within the department in that direction. That we look for demonstrated experience in changing police culture to one of high professionalism and community sensitivity. And finally, that you ask all those candidates to participate, the final candidates to participate in a public forum where they would address a set of questions that you might draft based upon these comments you've heard or in consultation with other stakeholders, and ask them all to respond to those questions in public forums. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Grant, Ray.
Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, thank you for your time and your service. And I definitely picked the safest room in St. Louis County to be in tonight, so thank you all for your service also. My name's Grant Rigg. I'm a lifelong St. Louis County resident, 60 plus years. Worked and lived in St. Louis County my entire life. And this is a very important time in St. Louis County. I feel that based on some of the recent issues going on, the Stinger rain, the Wildhaber lawsuit, as just mentioned, the Prop P, financial accountability, that this is an important time in St. Louis County for us to find and move forward in a progressive, open format so we can once again become a county that the residents feel very strongly in favor of, and just get rid of some of the baggage that we're bringing behind us. So with that being said, how do you all move forward with your selection process? I believe that the candidate should be a St. Louis County resident. While I have nothing against people in outlying counties, people in Illinois, I do feel that somebody that lives in the area, works in the area, is going to have stronger accountability and just a better work ethic, higher standard with having it in their own backyard. Secondly, and very importantly, I think that the candidate has to have a background and character beyond reproach. When the county hires a new officer, I believe they go through a very thorough background check. While I'm sure that all candidates that are going to be submitting their names and everything for this process have, long distinguished careers with law enforcement. Working in the private sector, we all know that there's a lot of resumes and applications that have fluff and puff and exaggeration. So I think it's critical, and I hope you all do due diligence with the candidates as they come forward to prove what they are, what they say they are. And that I feel that hiring from within the department helps on both the first two things I talked about. It's going to be easier to check on the people and know what they're about, being local and being within the department. While this position is appointed by the commission, and is picked on, I hope they're picked on their ability to lead. It's a time in the county where this person has to be able to lead and mend and bring together all factions, segments, areas of the department into one. And not only bring that into the department into one, but most importantly, go out and serve and protect the citizens and the businesses of St. Louis County as one. Thank you very much for your time. And again, thank you all for your service.
Thank you. Jeff Beaton.
Good evening. Good evening, and thank you very much for taking the time to hear the citizens of St. Louis County. My name is Jeff Beaton. I'm a 20-plus year resident of St. Louis County, unincorporated St. Louis County in the Fenton area. Also a lifelong St. Louisan. I also serve as the chairman for the St. Louis Area Police Chiefs Association. St. Louis Area Police Chiefs Association is represented by police agencies throughout the St. Louis metro area, including most agencies in St. Louis County, St. Louis City, Jefferson County, St. Charles County, and even Franklin County. Of the objectives of the St. Louis Area Police Chiefs Association, there are many that pertain to the sciences of preventing crime and apprehending criminals, to further the interest of law enforcement, and to uphold the honor of law enforcement through the promotion of professional standards. But probably more importantly is the objective to encourage good fellowship and understanding amongst law enforcement officials. I personally believe that the St. Louis County Police Department and their current command structure, our leadership or within the department, have multiple individuals who are qualified and meet the requirements of St. Louis County. I hope that the candidate or the new chief would not only exhibit or embrace the goals and objectives and the mission of St. Louis County, but they'd also embrace the goals and objectives of the St. Louis Area Police Chiefs Association. As you probably know, a lot of police agencies in the St. Louis County, we rely on the resources of the St. Louis County Police Department, sometimes on a daily basis. They assist us in crime scene investigation, processing crime scenes. They assist us in violent crimes, but they also assist the police agencies of the area with sensitive investigations within their own departments. So again, I just wanted to personally, and also from what has been explained to me and relayed to me by several other police chiefs within the organization, the St. Louis Area Police Chiefs organization, that we feel that it's important that the candidate not only embraces St. Louis County, but SLAPCA, but also that they have a full understanding of the importance of the relationships within the organizations, and that we all work in cooperation for a common goal to make St. Louis County a safer place to live. And again, just wanted to stress that I think a lot of those relationships with the current command structure already exist, and I personally would encourage you to try to stay in-house for that position. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to make some comments, and I just want to first say thank you to Chief Belmar and his staff for the outstanding service that they have provided us residents of St. Louis County. I have been a resident of St. Louis County for practically my entire life, and I appreciate everything they've done for us. The selection of the next Chief of Police in charge of over 1,000 commissioned officers is the most important decision that you as the Oversight Board will undertake. In today's environment, political considerations and public perceptions are impacting decisions whereby what seems to be acceptable to the majority outweighs a decision based on who is best qualified for the job. This appointment needs to be blind to any external considerations such as race, gender, creed, or political affiliation. It is my firm belief that this candidate should come from within the St. Louis County Police Department. This individual will have worked in different positions within the department and know firsthand the skills necessary to effectively perform the various jobs. This individual will have strong knowledge of the geographical areas which are served and understand the strengths and challenges each precinct faces. Excellent communication skills are necessary. Open and direct communication is necessary for the staff to properly follow directions and be able to provide feedback to improve the daily operations of the police department. Open and direct communication is necessary for the board and the public to have trust in the leadership and trust in the police department as a whole. Finally, accountability is a key qualification for success. This individual must support the officers under his command and take responsibility for their actions. A police officer puts his life on the line every day he is on duty and must make split-second decisions that affect his life and the lives of those he is protecting. Our officers need to know that their actions are being supported as they strive to serve and protect each and every member of this community. Thank you.
Jacqueline Lamb.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity. When you all begin to review the applicants for selection as the next chief of police of St. Louis County, I hope you consider several attributes. First, open-mindedness can be the backbone to a progressive and forward-thinking police department. Policing is changing every day. The public continues to expect police departments to recognize the changes occurring and adapt. By being open-minded, the chief of police would listen to ideas and comments from both the community they serve and employees within the department. Listening will lead to honest dialogue, loyalty, and transparency. The second trait I hope you consider is supportive. The police department employs over 1,300 people. Most of them are police officers. Over 300 of them are not. These 300 members are integral to the continuing functioning of the police department. Without these individuals, no one would dispatch calls, important information wouldn't get to the community, evidence couldn't get tested, crime reporting would cease, and that's only some of the roles these professional staff members fill. I hope that when you're reviewing the candidates, you consider not only how they will lead the police officers, but also how they will lead, support, and empower the professional staff employees. Finally, accountability is a quality the next chief of police must have. Accountability is often directly correlated with punishment when something goes wrong, but that isn't what accountability is meant to be. An alternate definition I found reads, clear commitments that in the eyes of others have been met. Leadership defines the culture. If leadership operates with clear commitments and keeps them, a culture of accountability will breed. In this manner, accountability builds trust. Police officers can then trust their commanders to make ethical decisions and fellow employees to put the needs of the public and the department ahead of personal interests. There are several different structures and layers of accountability in police work, but lasting accountability in law enforcement begins with fostering a department culture that values integrity and ethics. None of these ideas are only my own. A massive amount of research exists on effective selection processes for chiefs of police. I hope and I trust that the board has been reviewing published best practices as I did to prepare for my comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank all of you so far for the quality of your comments and your organization. They reflect that you clearly worked on this ahead of time. They're very helpful. Cheryl?
Hi, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I don't know if I'm the last one, but everything that has been said pretty much sums up what I think too, but the more you hear it, maybe it'll sink in. I also feel that our police chief should come from within. somebody that knows the county, that knows the strengths of our police department and can build on them, that knows the weaknesses and can make them into strengths. I think it's very important to have a police chief that can back their police officers. Recently, there was an incident in Maryland Heights, and I was so impressed with the police chief because every other word out of his mouth was heroic, hero, and it just, that's what our men and women that serve need to get from their police chief, to know that they and their city is behind them. And I also think that our police chief needs to be able to deal with the public because he is the voice of our police department. And I think he needs to be transparent and honest and open to those that they serve. So again, I agree with most of the people in what they said. I hope you will take these comments into consideration, and thank you for your service to our city.
Thank you. Beverly?
Parkway North from this high school in '77. And we had the largest African-American class, and there were 6 of us at that time. It was pretty great. It's definitely changed. My first time back since, and it's a lot different than I thought. So, but the 3 most important attributes honestly starts at the top with the chief of police. There's a separation of police/government and we the people. The police are privatized. So when I first heard about these meetings, I wondered why. Because every city has a contract with the police, for those who don't know. And it doesn't include we the people. Because judges have said, police don't have to help us. And so I keep wondering why you have these meetings to include the people. I think it's great, but what's it really, what happened? What's it really about?
What'd you do, Ben?
That's my biggest question, is how relevant are the people when we're not part of the police force. The police are not for us. They're just, that's, I don't understand that. This just leaves a lot of room for questions. And then there in St. Louis, and I'm sure it happens other places too, but there's a huge separation by race in the police unions. That's a huge concern because when you have to work together, what happens at that point? Do you see what I'm saying? Why do you have a black police union and a white police union? And why hasn't it been addressed by the mayor, by the governor, by the chief of police before this? The first police officer in the United States was 1901. Got hired in 1901. This is 2020. 2020. And you have separation. So how can the police work together? How can the police work together? And then, and I'm including St. Louis City in on this because it should be a group effort. It should be no separation whatsoever. So you have to work with people in different areas. But in the entire St. Louis area, county, city, whatever, 68% are below income. Out of that 68%, 48% are African Americans. But then you have gun shows every 3 months in St. Louis County. But then you have Cure Violence you know, that the city is spending $5 million on for St. Louis City. It's just not making sense. The whole thing is just, it's not making sense. And I just keep wondering what's going on. Is this just a job that you just collect a check, you know, and you get people? I mean, in North St. Louis County, there's, you know, hundreds of missing women. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's doing anything. And why? I don't get it. So it's just, and I'm listening to other people here, and everybody's singing the same song: accountability. Accountability to we the people. But how can we get it if you all privatize? How can we get it? If you, for those who don't know, if you look up contracts between your city and the police, you'll see it. You'll see it. We want accountability. We want police officers that have been trained only. We want one police union. We want officers who want to build communities, not separate them. We don't want officers fired from one city and then being able to go to another city. We want officers who see all people of color as human beings. We don't want to die because of the police. Everybody wants their freedom. And as you can see, I am African American. Stop killing us. Stop killing us. That's what we really want. We want to be a whole. Okay.
Thank you, Board of Police Commissioners, for allowing me to address the topic of what are the most important attributes. I've limited to just the three for the requirements. My name is David Hahn, and I've lived in the county for over 50 years. The first attribute I would hope you would consider is that the chief should reside in St. Louis County, so be a member of the community, live in the market that they serve. As such, you have a bond with the commitment to the residents they serve. By residing in the county, they also have a better chance of understanding the climate and the cultural challenges that we face. The second one is, in light of the recent St. Louis County court decisions, I would hope the board would seek to find a candidate that was not connected to any significant pending or past litigation. I would hope this could spare the department and its new leadership from having to defend itself right off the bat while trying to improve the image the public serves its businesses. Lastly, I would hope that the new chief of police would be selected from within the department. You've heard it over and over tonight, but I believe that looking outside, when we develop enough of the folks internally, and educate them and train them, that we should be able to deliver to the people. Once again, I want just to say thanks for the opportunity and appreciate your services.
Diane Perry.
There's one thing we didn't do at this meeting, open with prayer. And I would like to say it in prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, come to you this time, ask you to be in the presence of this meeting, Lord. We need you. There's things that are just going haywire in our city. And we know that we can't do anything without you. Watch my mouth. Let me say what needs to be said. And let me respect the people who's going to be governing us. In your blessed name, amen. My name is Diane Perry. I was born and raised in St. Louis County. I was born in Clayton, Missouri, raised in Webster Groves. We always had a police department. But then Meacham Park didn't. So I watched how the police department handled the blacks in Meacham Park. And then my next door neighbor, he was the first black sheriff, Mr. Levi Tiger, here in St. Louis County. About 2 years ago, I was coming home. I live in Pagedale now. That's still Health Rocky and Webster. I watched the police handle these black young men. They had them stretched out on the ground. Now, I hated that our kids have to come from North St. Louis County to go to the shopping malls, because everything was taken out of North County. But I still don't think they need to be harassed. I have even taken black young men to the bus stop, fearful for them. So I hope whoever be the next police chief will look into this situation of race. Because there's been a problem for years. Not with St. Louis County Police necessarily, but you have Brentwood, Richmond Heights. They were horrible. Back in the day, they were horrible. But you have a new situation out here where a lot of blacks have left the city and live in North St. Louis County. But we need to have some type of report. We all can work together, which we do not have it at this time. And I'm going to give you an example. I was going to my job the other day, and I wasn't speeding. Who rides on Manchester between Rock Hill and Brentwood? The street is horrible. So I was trying to avoid a pothole. So I got to this part, and then I got over. So Rock Hill cop decided to follow me, but he didn't say anything to me. And when I got to my job, he gets out like he's bit something, but I don't know what he was, and tried to be smart. He was a little young fucker. He was young. But I didn't say nothing back to him. I just asked him his name, because I wanted to tell the mayor about him. So I want the police chiefs to know about that. We're going to have to deal with these little attitudes that a lot of these young police officers have. They don't know how to address people. They think that they are, you know, they're the ones. But I hope we pick someone, and I hope we pick someone of color. I can hear my ancestors now. My old great aunt, she was born the day they built that darn courthouse. She died in '73, she was 103. So I hope we pick someone of color, because they chased us out of the city and ran us to North St. Louis County. And we need to be a part of the situation. We might not have the money that you have on West St. Louis County, but we're still a part of the county and we pay our taxes. So I hope the next police chief will be adhere to our feelings too. Thank you.
Tim King.
I was here to advocate for a certain individual to be the next police chief. Is this proper forum to do that?
Well, we've asked people to avoid advocating for particular candidates.
Okay,
To focus on qualities and characteristics.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. I can just mail what I have to say to, can I mail what I have to say?
Yes, that would be just fine.
Okay, I have a particular candidate, and I didn't know, I wasn't aware that you asked them, that wasn't the right one to do that. So
That's
I'll
fine,
just-
it'd probably be.
Okay.
The best way to do that is just mail us the letter.
Okay, thank you, okay, yeah, so,
Thank you. Okay, are there other speakers tonight? I'd like to thank you all for coming. One thing you might notice is that a number of the command staff have been here. Not only have we been listening to you, but so has the command staff. And I think we'll all take care of the March number. Thank you very much. Now, we have, I have a formal statement that will bore the daylights out of you. It bores me to read it. But we have to say at the end of our meeting to go into a special session. The Board of Police Commissioners may vote to go into closed meeting for review of claims and lawsuits involving the police department, section 610.021.1 and section 114.0201, discussion of employee and personnel matters, section 610.021.3 and 13, RSMO, and sections 114.020.3 and 13, SLCRO. An update on union negotiations, section 610.021.9, RSMO, and section 114.020.9, SLCRO, and a discussion of the specifications for competitive bidding, sections 610.021.11, RSMO, and section 114.020.11, SLCRO. Can we have a motion and a roll call vote?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Gardner,
Yes.
Commissioner Hassler,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Punch,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwerin.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our meeting.